Chapter 1. You're Not the Problem.
You're not bad with money, but lately, you've started to wonder if you are. It's another weeknight, and you're at the kitchen table with the bills fanned out, running the sums you ran last month, hoping they come out differently this time. They don't. It stings, because you did everything they told you to do. You got the job, you saved what you could, you were careful with every dollar. Yet a home of your own slips a little further out of reach every year. None of that is your fault. You're caught in a much bigger story, one that started long before you were born. By the end, you'll see the one part of that story that's still yours to change.
Chapter 2. The Map That Used to Work.
It begins with your mum and a house she bought back in 1985. She wasn't rich, and she wasn't clever with money. She had one ordinary job and a small deposit. And back then, that was genuinely enough. A normal person on a normal wage could walk up to a normal house and buy it. So she did, and it worked out exactly as she'd been promised. That's why she taught you the plan she believed in, the same one her own mother taught her. Work hard, save your money, be patient, wait your turn, and one day, the house, the security, all of it will be yours. She wasn't lying to you. She was handing you a map that had worked beautifully for her entire life.
Chapter 3. The Plan Dies.
But the map was drawn for a country that no longer exists. Because while you were following the old plan, working, saving, staying patient, the ground shifted under your feet a little more every year. In the 80s, that same house cost around 3 or 4 years of an ordinary wage. By the time it was your turn, in a lot of big cities, buying a place to live cost 10 years of that wage or more. So you take the extra shift, the second job. You cut out the small joys. You don't have time for them anyway. Even so, the house only got further away, like someone kept moving the goalpost back, faster than you could ever run at them. And you're failing, not because you didn't work hard, and not because you didn't save, but because the game is rigged. Then one day, you read an article that spells out what's been happening. A home has become something you inherit, not something you earn. They call it a hereditary privilege, like a title in one of those Jane Austen novels.
Chapter 4. What It Does to You.
You've wanted a place of your own for so long and watched it stay out of reach. The waiting wears a person down. Right now, it's wearing you down too. You're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You've stopped saving for a house and started just covering this month, then bracing for the next one. Underneath it all sits a nagging worry. How long can you keep this up? And yes, you envy them, the generation who bought a house on one wage and called it common sense. Every time you open your phone, the feed hands you another condescending remark. Some boomer who paid off his home by 26, patiently explaining that your real problem is the coffee and the avocado on toast. So you aim your anger at them, a whole generation of strangers on a screen. But you don't aim that anger at mum. Even though she was part of that same generation, she's not a headline or a stranger. She's just the one who lives in the house you grew up in, the one who raised you and walked you to school. And she meant it when she said the house would be yours. So you scroll a little longer and let the resentment sit there where it's safe. That's so much easier than the only other option, walking across town and talking to her.
Chapter 5. The Frozen Thing.
Because the moment you think about mum, the frustration just goes away. And yet she's sitting on a fortune, that plain house she's owned outright for 40 years. Except the fortune is the roof over her head and the backyard the house sits on. It's not cash in a drawer she can hand you. She's holding on to the house because one day she may need every penny of it for her own care. In a lot of places, a few years of that care can cost as much as the entire house. Maybe that looks selfish, while it's really just survival. So the two of you sit there, a few miles apart, years of silence between you. The one thing that could change everything is locked inside a house neither of you will mention. You'd give her anything. You'd help her out of the bath and drive her to every appointment for years. You just cannot give her a single sentence about the money.
Chapter 6. The Crack.
The silence might have stayed frozen forever, if not for one ordinary conversation. Your mate somehow bought a place while you were renting. You ask him how he did it. You brace yourself for a rich uncle or a lottery win or a number you could never match. Instead, he looks a little embarrassed and says,
I just asked them.
That's the secret. He sat his mum and dad down and asked them for help. He admits it was the hardest sentence he ever said in his life. The moment the words left his mouth, it got easier for everyone in the room. The fear was all in the run-up. The asking itself took about 10 seconds. Your whole life, you've pictured a locked door with your mum on one side and you shut out on the other. But you've never once tried the handle. You don't actually know the door is locked. All you know is that neither of you has ever reached for it. The two of you standing on either side for 30 years, each one waiting for the other to knock first.
Chapter 7. You Knock.
So you knock first. You drive over, you sit at her kitchen table, and you finally speak up. You don't demand anything. You just want to talk about her plan for the years ahead and how you might be part of it. You're honest about how hard it's been for you. Then, the hardest sentence of all, can you afford to help me? Because for you, asking for help is the bravest thing there is. Maybe the money moves now. While it can still change your life, maybe it can't, because that money's all promised to her care. Maybe there's less there than you feared, or far more than you let yourself hope. But at last you'll know, and you can stop putting your life on hold for a maybe. The game is rigged. The market has left you behind. But the silence between you and your mum was never the market's doing. That silence is the one thing in this entire story that you can actually change. Not by earning more, and not by waiting longer, but by saying one hard, ordinary sentence to someone you love, while she's still here to hear it. So take the good plates down out of the cabinet and use them tonight. Have the conversation. Because the house was never the inheritance that mattered. The conversation is,